do you think companies have pulled back on the importance of people of culture in the last 5 years? And fast forward 5 years, what are the impacts of that going to be?
I think they have. I think as we sit here today, I would say there's a lower focus or less of a focus on people and culture. I think there's a number of different reasons for that. I think first and foremost, I would say the last 2 or 3 years, the macroeconomic's been pretty depressed. So I think just naturally when times are a little bit harder or the market's a little bit more depressed, people normally pull back on people and culture. So I think but that's cyclical. That happens all the time. That's just like a thing that happens here and now. And then I think also on top of that, it's probably been magnified by AI as well. So the questioning, I think, from leadership and everybody around, well, do we need people as much anymore? Are people as much of a key cog in the future, or can we replace people? So I think there's the macroeconomic times has led to a little bit of a less of a focus on people, which is relatively normal. But what's not normal is then have this big question mark around, well, do we even need people? And I think that's led to a bit of a shrinking in the focus. And what does that mean in 5 years' time? Well, I've said a few times that I think we're in danger of potentially having the most disengaged workforce of a generation where if all they hear is redundancies and we don't need you, I can replace you with AI, then you're going to end up with quite a disengaged workforce. So I think there's definitely a high level of risk moving forward that you end up with quite disengaged workforces and people pull back on the people strategy. So I think now's the time to be doubling down, really focusing on people. Of course, focusing on AI as well, but not forgetting that ultimately people are key.
Yep.
So I feel like they sat us here for a reason, because you're taking the more like maybe pessimistic view of all of this, and I'll take the opportunity view.
I'm the miserable Brit.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're the pragmatic, right?
Yeah.
Pragmatic.
Love it.
No, I think culture is maturing right now, and I think what you're seeing is a bit of a reset of what's going on with people and culture. And what I mean by that is the companies that are going to do really well with the investment in AI, with how they're deploying AI into their organizations, are going to be the ones that have the strongest leaders that know how to use it for good things, right? For positive things, for not replacing people, but for leveling up people. And I think that's where you're going to see a marked change in, how companies are taking something like AI and making it something that's going to propel them into the next 5 years. I think the companies that are saying these resources, these AI tools are going to replace you are going to also have they're going to have a workforce that is also feeling temporary, right? And they're not going to want to put in all the effort because they're going to see their time is up, right? But the ones that are actually using this for leveling up their organizations are going to be the ones that really win this game. Because at the end of the day, I mean, this is a resource that's going to take us into, the next decade. And we're only seeing the top of the iceberg, right? Or the tip of the iceberg, I should say. With AI, I don't even think we're fully using it, right? As a group of organizations, right? As a people, we're not using it for what it could potentially be used for. We're using it for what we think it can be used for. So I think there's still so much learning that has to happen and change management.
Yeah. I think there's room for skepticism and also optimism as well. Mike, where do you?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to kind of maybe fall in both camps to some degree. I think there's a lot of pessimism about, AI in the workforce and what will that do. And I think a lot of companies have chosen to latch on to the fear tactic of, get on board or be left behind. And I don't know if that's necessarily the right path. And I think that the companies that are going to do well, to your point, are those that have, a really well-oiled strategy and leaders that are leading from the top down and leading by example on what do they do with AI and how do they use it and where do they use it. I think being really intentional about that. But I also think that on the flip of that, AI is almost causing the people function to be slightly commoditized. at certain levels. I mean, I can talk about TA because it's near and dear to my heart, but that's where you hear it all the time, where recruiters are deathly afraid of AI coming in and replacing them in certain degrees. But I actually don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. I think it really is all about skill evolution and leveling people up, and you've got to have that right talk track in order to make people believe that, though.